Hey everyone, this is Dan. In our Bitcoin Quick Rips, what we're doing is just taking clips from our State of Bitcoin podcast and presenting them in shorter format. As always, none of this is investing advice. Don't take it as such. It's just two guys talking about Bitcoin. Hope you enjoy.
Texas, the home of the players and pimps, is now, they're very bullish on Bitcoin. They're launching the Bitcoin Foundation, which is kind of centered around just like educating Bitcoin and research, and funding research of Bitcoin, to kind of just, widespread education of it. And so, we have Texas that's also very friendly to Bitcoin miners. A few of their politicians and running politicians have come out and said that they're going to stay friendly to Bitcoin. Then we've also had Austin, which is Austin, Texas, the capital, which is, trying to become the center and the capital of Bitcoin. It's very Bitcoin friendly. Our friends over at Choice hosted a block party with Oshi, where was very big and popular. Got some big news where people could buy and sell beer and food on Rainy Street there using Bitcoin, things like that. So a lot of big things happening in the Bitcoin space in the state of Texas. And somebody that grew up there, it's really cool to see, and I'm excited to go back and go visit some of the Bitcoin meetups there and just see what's going on, because I think it's starting to become one of the leaders, and I think it's just going to keep on trucking along. Uh-oh, Danny Chugs.
Yeah, the only thing that concerns me about the art, at least the article that I pulled up about this, is that they're saying they're partnering with like scholars and labs and educational institutions. Look, a lot of people, a lot of our audience knows that I've got a PhD. I put my time in the institutions. I put 10 years into academia, and let me tell you where things don't get innovative. Let me tell you where things don't get pushed forward in a timely and productive fashion. Academia. If you want a project to die, push it into academia. So I would just hope that the people that are in charge of this foundation are allocating funds appropriately and not dumping money into research projects being performed by people who are career academics who have no experience in the real world in the free market and don't know how to push a product to market or take a product to market or market a product, because those things are absolutely crucial, especially in the Bitcoin community. You have to have marketing down. You have to have a presence on Twitter. You have to be active on the Bitcoin Twitter. Like, you have to understand the memetics. One of the things that makes Bukele so awesome is that he understands the memetics. He's got a damn McDonald's hat on his on his profile pic now, I think. So if you want to stall progression in whatever you're trying to push, whether it's like, hey, we're trying to develop a new ASIC chip or whatever it is, if you want to stall it, push it into academia, because they'll spend years just having meetings about whether or not they should do it. So I would be cautious about the foundation until I figured out exactly where they're allocating money. And, I say that thinking that they care what I think, but yeah, it's just as an outsider looking in, I see this statement that they're going to be funding research projects via scholars, labs, and educational institutions. And I think, wow, that's going to be a giant waste of money. So
Yeah, I mean, I was in that space too, just not quite as long as you. I don't have my degrees hanging behind me like you. I know you got them blurred out, like we can't tell what all three of those things are back there. But you know, just don't act like you're that ashamed of it, Dan. You loved academia at one point in time, but
dude,
I
those
agree. It's
those are drinking awards. Those are
oh
certificates that I
yeah.
got for drinking so much. They're like a drinking
Oh,
competition certificates.
I got you. So you got some participation trophies back there. Makes sense. Makes sense. You got those hanging up. Congrats for participating. And here you go. Here's your piece of paper.
Those are karate certificates.
What is it that Napoleon Dynamite in there? You're getting there, and you got the guy with the full on just like American flag pants and the cut off red shirt. That's who your instructor was, and then he just gave you a piece of paper afterwards. You went to three classes though. Credit to you. But back to the whole Texas academia thing, I agree. Things are very slow paced. I think that there's like a sense of, urgency when you're running a business, because if you're not profitable, if you're not, actively researching, actively putting up product, actively marketing, actively being involved in the space or anything, you're going to fail. And if you fail, like, you lose your company, you lose your job, you lose your career, you lose money. Whereas in academia, it's like, okay, well, the funding ran out for this one project. Okay, that project dies. At the end of the day, you're going to be okay. You're going to still have your job because it's state funded and everything like that. You're going to still be able to probably get grants for other projects because you're working on 5 different projects at one time. And it's like, oh, well, I'm working on this, and this. Oh, well, Bitcoin's in the back burner because I can't figure out how to monetize it, or I can't figure out something groundbreaking or something like that. Or I'm just going to write and put out some bullshit paper where I could just get my name on it and I'm going to publish it to other academics. And then that's it. So yeah, I agree like 100% on the whole academic spot. I think it's good in a sense that it's getting publicity and it's getting people more exposed to it. I hope that, when people actually put pen and paper and read and do all these research things, and because Bitcoin has a quote unquote white paper, maybe more academics will read that and they'll dig into that a little bit more, and that'll get them into a different rabbit hole. And maybe they'll find like somebody like Saifedean, who was in academics at one point, and something like that. That's where I hope it goes, is like, okay, well, they take a step outside of the academic realm because they realize like, hey, this hasn't been in academics before. So we don't really have a game plan for this. But, I could also see it going the other way, like you said. So we'll see. I think overall Texas is very bullish on Bitcoin, and I'm happy to see that it's as bullish on Bitcoin. And I think everything that comes out is positive, but you also got to be a little bit wary with some of the things that come out too. So I agree. I'm a little wary as to where the research and how it's going, but overall, I think it's a positive for the space.
Well, the other thing too that I'll point out is that for people that aren't aware, so if you develop a product in university, even if you're a student or a faculty member, most universities have a thing in your contract that says whatever you develop, we own. The university owns it. And so they'll take, like, no joke, 75, 80% of whatever you get when you start selling it. And I don't know if foundations like this can come to an agreement with the university where it says, hey, you can develop something there, but then we get to sell it. But I would also just point out, like, that's the case too. And so the people in academia that are doing the research, developing products, they're not incentivized by the market dynamics of like, well, we need to sell this so that it's profitable, or we need to develop it so that it's profitable, because they don't get the profits. The university gets the profits, right? So they're not thinking about, well, what would it be? What would the cost be if we scaled up production? They're not thinking about things like that.